This is crazy. So if you're new to the channel, thanks for being here. If you are a regular subscriber, thanks for being here. So again, real quick, since I was muted earlier, I wanted to say, if you are a regular viewer or it's your first time here, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. We recently hit 200,000 views, and I'm super grateful for each and every one of you. Now, real quick, this is just a down and dirty video to cover just the basics of, you know, other brands that are out there and why this brand is maybe better than that one, but why I ultimately pick and choose what I want to use, which is the Canon M50 that you're watching this on right now. So of course, there are other brands out there. You're talking about a camera that is essentially, you know, made for entry-level beginners, content creators. Like, you know, it's not something that they're going to shoot a movie on, you know, in the big studios and all of those different things. Could it? Sure, it has the possibility to do a lot of things. Lens options make a lot of things possible. However, I do want to make it known what other options are out there. Again, why I chose ultimately what I did. And so maybe it may not be the best thing for you, but it is right now the camera of my camera of choice. And again, I just wanted to kind of nip some topics and get those out the way, nip them in the bud and get them out the way before I get started on a new series. So what other brands are out there? A couple ones I'm not just going to cover because I don't just care about what they're doing or what, like, I'm not even following any releases or whatever. It just doesn't matter. But for the big primary ones that I've paid attention to, I want to cover those, their cameras that they have, and just why I just don't care about them. So let's talk about Canon first. So what you're looking at right now currently is the Canon EOS R and the Canon EOS RP, EOS, whatever they call it, I don't care. So there's the R and the RP. These are great cameras, but you're currently looking at a $1,300 camera and a $2,000 camera. And these cameras are good for what they are, I guess, but it's not that much more better. You know, it's like it's some things that are good about them, more specifically the R, comes to like 10-bit and HDMI output or clean HDMI. You don't have to do any kind of real hacks or whatever. Some form of, you know, unlimited charging or unlimited power with their specific adapt. Like, you know, it's still some like sort of kind of workarounds, but you can kind of get this, you know, take this away, add this. Like Canon plays that game, we'll give you this, but we'll take that away kind of a thing. But for what it is, I don't see them being worth it, and I believe that they're overpriced. You have stuff like the Canon EOS RP, again, a not RP, but the R, $2,000 camera, and it has 720p, 120 frames per second in the exact same way that the Canon M50 does. So it's like they're not making any large or huge strides between one brand or another. And it's not to bash any one camera brand or again, but it's just like looking at my thought process of the things that I'm considering and what I look at, honestly, when I'm deciding if I'm going to spend my money on something. And again, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter what you're using to create the content with, but that you just get out there and you start creating. But again, because I know it's going to come up with the series that I'll be covering, I'll touch on that before I wrap this up, because again, this is going to be very, very quick. I will let you guys know specifically what I'm talking about. So that's Canon. Let's move on to the next brand. Next brand that I've highly considered is Fuji. Fuji is doing a great job with the features and the amount of things that they're offering. I think every other brand is. And this, you're looking at the Fuji X-T3 and the Fuji X-T30. So these are great cameras. I think they are phenomenal when it comes to specs and all the good stuff. They do a great job. Fuji is really listening to their customers, and they do a great job. Only problem, no flip out screen. And their lenses are a little bit, the motors, like the build of it, is like a little bit slower. The autofocus isn't quite there. It's like good enough, but it's not quite there. And that was an issue that I had with Panasonic. And it's just, again, no flip out screen. I don't really like their menus. I could get used to it, but I really don't like their menu systems. And, you know, this kind of makes a difference when you're kind of switching and you're on set. Like I have a shoot coming up locally in 2 weeks. And, you know, like when I'm in the midst of different situations or lighting changes or whatever, I want to know what I need to do and where is this in the menu. I don't want to have to hunt and look and search. And so that's something that's just like looking at the Fuji menus and getting hands on with it. It's like, it's a lot of good things about it, a lot of other things like that I don't like either. Fuji X-T30 as well as the X-T3. You're looking at a $1,000 camera for the Fuji X-T30 and a $1,700 camera as far as the X-T3. But otherwise, very good cameras. It's not a whole lot that I would say about them. Now, when it comes to the next one, which is Sony. Sony is one of the ones that you really don't have a whole bunch to say anything about, because they are doing it. They have the Sony A6400 on the left there, and you have the Sony A7 III. And yeah, like if we had issues with no flip or flip out screen, then they flipped it up. At least it's something so that you could begin to see yourself, which is one of my main issues. Like I can look over right now, and if I wanted to scooch over and say, or scooch this way, then I could. You know, I know what I'm looking at and all of this. I don't have to worry about whatever. You know, I can see that. They do an amazing job. Like they went ahead and released in the A6400, this one here with the flip up screen, that you can do unlimited video recording, which is something I loved about my Panasonic G85. But the other problem is their menu options suck. Their menu system sucks, and quite personally, I hate the way a Sony feels in the hand. I was going to get, before I got the Panasonic JT5, the Sony A7R2. And I was just like, okay, well, I can get the monitor, and I can get this and this and that or whatever. And then their lenses are expensive as well. And it's just like, for me, I'm only going to buy a couple, maybe 3, 4 would be a max when it comes to lens options. And then like I kind of look at maybe older model lenses that was like a version 2 and version 3, maybe the latest. Then that's kind of stuff that I think about and that I go for. Because it's like, I don't need sometimes the latest and the greatest. It's just like, it's marginal differences between the price hikes that really would make a difference for me. So when you're looking at the A6400 on the left, you're looking at a $1,000 camera that I think that's just the body only. It's a little bit higher when you add some kind of lens. And then a $2,000 camera when you're talking about the Sony A7 III on the right there. And so that's Sony. And then let's go to my beloved Panasonic. Yeah, I got some feelings. I feel some kind of way. I've had a couple Panasonic cameras in my day. I think that is like my other brand of choice is Panasonic. They do so many things right, and only just small little things wrong. Like, so again, you got other brands. Fuji, they're doing a great job with a lot of things that they do. Sony, they're doing fantastical jobs with the things that they do. It's not anything that you could kind of want in a camera that you probably aren't going to get in a Sony. But the same way I could touch and focus on the back of, you know, whatever's behind me, that painting or something like that, I could focus on that. I could do that. I could tap the screen right now and it'd focus on that, and I can push it back on my face and it'd focus back on me. But I can't tap like I would want to and change a lot of options and scroll through them. Like, you can't do that on the Sony. But Panasonic, they do give you a lot of touch functionalities and stuff like that. You do need to use the dials when you come out changing stuff or whatever. And I had my fair share of Panasonic cameras. At the top left, you're looking at the Panasonic GX8, which I think is a highly underrated camera. I mean, it's basically a G85 in a longer-ish kind of body. Feels great, in-body image stabilization, flip-out screen, 4K video, incredible. It's heavy. It's heavy. I did a shoot for my church, and they're about spraying my wrist trying to vlog with it because I don't lift weights or any of those things. It's heavy. It's legit heavy. Heavy for me, I'll put it that way. Obviously, you get used to it. But then, too, it was some battery draining issue. Then I got like pushing 3 different versions or 3 different models, and they all had the same issue, that battery draining issue. You leave the battery in the camera. A few hours later, you come back, that battery is completely depleted. The camera won't even cut on. And then something with the on the last one, and then I just was like, okay, enough, where I was panning, just kind of going from left to right. And it was just like this jarring motion with the in-body image stabilization. So it was crazy, and I couldn't deal with it. My beloved Panasonic JT5, which is why I was getting the GX8, I was trying to get some kind of vlogging camera. Also tried the Panasonic G7 that's in the bottom of the screen here, where I'm representing my St. Louis Cardinals there. And, you know, these cameras are amazing. That Panasonic G7 runs for maybe less than the Canon M50 with the lens and all of that stuff and all those bags and batteries or whatever else you may see online. But the autofocus sucks on Panasonic. Yes, you can make a big box for a certain area and otherwise stay in focus, but you're limited to being just right there. Like, I couldn't take and, you know, put my iPhone up to the screen and then you can see it and then it comes back to me successfully, competently, successfully, comfortably. Okay? It doesn't do that. It does a pretty good job, even with like the Yoda Yo hack and all of that stuff. And I did videos on all of that. They all do a great job. Love the way it feels, love all of that. But they are plagued. Panasonic cameras are plagued with autofocus issues. And when it comes to, like, the first shoot that I did was for a barbecue company. Amazing footage that I got there at the shoot. But as soon as both of them sat down, I was like, oh, in my heart of hearts, I knew, I was like, how am I going to focus for both of them? And so they have where you can, you know, just highlight specific autofocusing points and just stay there. And I'm like, okay, it's a talking head. They won't move. It'll be fine. I'll just increase the depth of field. So right now I'm at a f1.8. I was like, okay, let me make it like a f2.5, f2.8 for them. So if they move back and forth, they have some space. It's not like a super shallow depth of field. And, you know, I made the video. I don't like to think like that when I'm creating content. I don't like to feel those restraints of autofocus. Like, if I'm manually focusing, like I wound up doing my Christmas program for my church, and I used 4 different cameras, and I was running the whole thing by myself. And then I know I'm going to do manual because I know I want to specifically nail those shots at any angle or whatever, or when somebody comes within a specific range. But I don't want to do that for stuff like this. My regular videos. Yeah, I could, and I did. But it's like, as soon as I get the urge, like, oh man, look, I'm excited about something, let me show you, I gotta stop, let me refocus, let me readjust. And it's those little things that keep you from creating content when it comes to all of this stuff at the end of the day. So Panasonic cameras, they are doing a fantastic job. You can get that Panasonic JT5 probably, and they just came out with the G95. Fixes a lot of issues I had with it, minus the autofocus. But otherwise, I mean, you know, they're good cameras. They really are. The issues are minimal, but they hold their value because they're worth it. So, I mean, you got different price ranges, maybe like $400 to $500 for the G7, $600, $700 or $800 for the G85, maybe $600, $700 or $800 for the GX8. Rambling an awful lot of models here, but I know my stuff when it comes to the cameras. But at the end of the day, I don't care what brand it was. When it comes to the things that are basic for me and the things that are most important for me that make content creation easy, simple, no stress, the Canon M50, much to my surprise, because I got it when only after the Panasonic GX8 would not work for me. And it was too heavy, and I'm like, stuff is not working. Like, this is becoming a hassle. And we had an not even an event at the church. We had a situation happen where the whole community around us lost power, and it was like they just did not have power for several days, and beyond just that, I think it was like pushing a week or two. And so they didn't have food, and whatever food that they had that they ate through, they didn't have anything. And then like the stores were not able to hold any supplies. Like, it was a terrible situation, just like immediately. And so at church, we brought food in, we brought in microwaves, we brought, you know, like everything, so we could just have a fully operational setup and just go and take hot food to anybody that we could drive to. Had a whole system set up. We had servers, met up after where we could, you know, get stuff arranged, whole train of cars, just going to drop off food, water, and canned goods and stuff to the neighbors around the church. Now, I say all that to say that at the end of the day, I lost footage from that day. I wound up having to use stuff from my phone and a point and shoot camera because the autofocus, even like in manual or whatever, it's like I'm moving in the car. I'm trying to get certain shots. It's just not working. Like, it's just like, it's too much other stuff on my mind as well. It's just not working. I can't even rely on the camera at this point. I'm just like, I just had to resort to my phone. Getting otherwise would be good shots. It goes in focus and it goes out. And it's just like, I don't have time. Like, we're hopping in between and out of cars. We're in this area for a few minutes or whatever. We, get all our food out, and it's just like, okay, now we got to move to someplace else. And I get back to put the video together. A lot of stuff that I couldn't use. So when I got the Canon M50, it was on a humbug. I needed it before I went to Vegas, and I was like, okay, let me see if this little rinky-dink camera gonna be able to do something for me. And lo and behold, now I'm working with two of these things, shooting with one of them right now, and got my other one right here. And I can do this while I live stream. So fun. So at the end of the day, yes, there are wonderful brands out there. Yes, there are wonderful, amazing quality cameras out there. Yes, there are amazing companies with far better features than anything that Canon cameras have in them, period, under $2,000. Their latest models, the Canon EOS R and the RP, their latest models, the latest and greatest of what they're releasing, still sucks compared to every other brand that I just mentioned. I'm not even going to talk about Nikon, Olympus, or, any other brand. Like, I don't really care about Nikon and Olympus like that. Nikon is doing some amazing things. Olympus is doing some amazing things. Those are not brands I would buy. They could come out with the best camera. I just don't like them. I don't know what it is. It's just like, but that's my personal opinion. So at the end of the day, because like I said, this is going to be a quick hitter, should you maybe get one of these other brands? And the answer is yes, you should consider them, because I am not the end all be all when it comes to what should you buy and what should you get. Because for me, I want what makes doing stuff like, like something happens at random. You get text messages on a Saturday night, like, come dressed to sweat on Sunday because we need to go out to the community and serve. And it's just like, I want to capture this. I don't have time for cinematic manual focus shots in between carrying plates. Like, I just don't. I wanted something that I could rely on, something that would work. And at the end of the day, Canon just works for me. It just works. I'm not so allured by full frame, but if you are, go for it. It's like, honestly, if you're needing more, a camera that's like $500 probably isn't the best. You might want to invest in something that's $1,000 to $1,500. So don't buy a camera like the M50 when you know you maybe need more. When you know you really want to do unlimited recording limits and stuff like that. Maybe that Sony a6400 is for you. And yeah, the lenses are more expensive, but if that's what's going to work, invest in it. I think that's the difference between when we look at spending money on cameras and investing money on cameras and gear and stuff like that. This gear that I buy has been a complete and total investment for me and continues to yield a return. But a lot of times, like, you're comparing stuff that really don't matter. At the end, like, nobody cares. Like, legit, nobody cares. This is like a YouTube bubble that's going on, and you have a bunch of comparisons and stuff going on, and it only matters within the bubble. Nobody else cares. I have never had anybody hire me for any local video production or anything that has ever asked, what kind of camera and lenses are you using? Period. They are simply judging the work that I produce, and that is it. That's it. Other stuff like price and, all the business stuff, but they are not caring what camera and lens and tripod and microphone, like, they don't care. Is the quality good? And did you get somebody else results? And the answer to those things are yes. I've had people completely book out a local event based off of the video marketing content that I have produced for them. So it's just like, and it don't matter if it was with the Panasonic or it was with the M50. because I had a client where I was switching him in between. If you know what you're doing, it really doesn't matter. Like, nobody cares. And nobody's going to your channel and your content and what you're creating and comparing, well, this looks better than Jim's footage over here on this channel. Like, nobody cares. I watch people that have amazing channels, and I'm hearing every room echo in the world, or just like the camera gets out of focus. Complete vlogs, totally out of focus. Shows on Netflix, HBO, Stars, shots out of focus. They're not hurting for money on these TV series and shows and stuff like that. So, again, I say all that to say, pick what you want. I'm for everybody that wants to make content, create content for a reason, for a purpose, or what have you. And it really doesn't matter. Like, I love the Canon M50. I use the Canon M50, and I don't always recommend the Canon M50. I will recommend sometimes to, like, depending on what the person's need is and what we're talking about. And sometimes, like, I'm okay with the little hacks that I do or whatever, using a system like Ecamm Live, so I can be able to use the autofocus and all that stuff. Like, I don't have to worry about the problems that the camera otherwise natively has. Some people don't want to invest in a Mac. Some people don't want to get Ecamm Live. Some people don't want, that, like, it's just like you have to make those decisions ultimately for yourself. And so, because, as I make this announcement, I'm doing a live streaming series in regards to, same way like I did the M50 series, it won't be as intense and as in depth, but it'll be maybe like a 5 to 10 part micro series that I'm going to be doing on the channel when it comes to live streaming on the Canon M50, because I've done several videos where I'm solely just, kind of like answering questions or something like that. But at the same time, I want to ensure that these new things that have come up when it comes to, like, I've had a lot of questions, honestly, that just continue to just pop up, and new things that I want to cover in its own dedicated series, and not just kind of like one-off questions and stuff like that. And some really good stuff that's come up in the comments from you guys. So, but before I did that, I was like, okay, I always get, but what about this camera? And what about this one? And that one's better than that one. And that one's better than that one. And to that, I would say, yeah, it is. So if that's what you want, get it. And have fun with it. Use it. Share a message that's going to help inspire somebody to do something or whatever. And I think at the end of the day, that is the biggest thing. Nobody's going to come to your channel and compare what your stuff looks like to somebody else's channel and be like, oh, well, that's way worse, unless it just like completely sucks. Then somebody else say something. But other than that, I just, like I said, short video. I wanted to nip it in the bud because I want to make sure that you know what your options are and why I have considered those same options as well. Sony, Panasonic, Fuji, see all these different brands out there. Honestly, I'm really hoping at some point Fuji flips their screen around in some capacity, and we'll see. Because right now the Canon M50 is what's working for me. It's what I'm using, and I'm using it to help encourage you guys to create the content that's going to help somebody in the things that you're doing. Get your business and your brand more visible through online video. So, real quick, jump through some quick comments. I'm going to jump around, so if I don't quite get to your question or your concern or what have you, you can leave that comment down in the comment section, and I will answer it. So, real quick, Dare to Dream School, Michelle Osorio said, hi, have no fear. Why, I'm glad that you are not fearful. Said, about to drive and listen. Okie dokie. Said, love the lighting below your painting. Why, thank you. I'm trying something new with that. I just wanted to see, like, initially what it looked like. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that works. I may invest in some more lighting. But I think that's fine. Just, like, instead of the yellowish hue, try a little pink, reddish kind of whatever. Okay, got that. And so, Michelle talking about me, because I was talking about the Panasonic camera being a little too heavy for me. Said, if it's too heavy, then do some more bicep curls. Well, you go ahead and get rough and tough with your Afro puff. And he said, I did love my Panasonic HVX back in 2009. Oh yeah, Michelle, you've done quite a bit with some videos. Love your streams. We'll watch this later. Well, thank you, Rob Fuss. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your comment. Cheryl saying gotta go. Alrighty. Said Cheryl Craven, hello and welcome to the stream. Said, I love the weight of the camera as well. It's my first real camera and I am hooked. Well, Cheryl, congratulations on your new purchase. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I like the weight of it too. I like everything about it. Like, it's so small. Like, this is all I have to take. If I want to hold it, then I can do that. Like, it's simple. It's simple. If I need a little bit more weight or something like that, I just grab the speed booster and, like the 35mm lens here, or my little hacked up lens that I did that I can put a speed booster on now. Whatever. If you want to keep it small, got the 22, super, super thin. Just options. I like options, and I like to be able to choose, and the camera's just not heavy all by itself. So I'm with you on that one, Cheryl. Jonathan Rindo said, you look great on the M50. Why, thank you, my good sir. I appreciate it. Rebuildable Ryan saying, hello. Hey, how you doing? Glad that you are here. Alrighty. So Rebuildable Ryan is saying, I am a YouTube vape reviewer. I'm looking for an up-close lens for my M50. What do you recommend? Well, if you want the lens to be closer, just bring it closer to you. If you need more in the shot, like I'm kind of close, but then you kind of get some wide-esque kind of stuff, that's for me I'm using a 35mm lens. It would be way closer without the Viltrox speed booster, but with the Viltrox speed booster, I'm able to get more of what I want you to see in the background, which is essentially my books. So what would I recommend? You can honestly, again, depending on all of what you're trying to get in the frame behind you, or if you don't care what's behind you, just simply want it closer, whatever lens you're using, bring it slightly closer. When you get to these prime lenses on any camera, honestly, it's only one focal length. So you literally will have to bring it closer or further away to get it kind of what you are looking to do. Then if you have a kit lens for whatever, let's say the M50, for example, adjust the lens until you can kind of figure out how much you want in the background, how close, do you want. I usually just kind of do talking head like this, and then I'll look at what focal range that's at. What is the number at on the lens? And I can see that's at a 35 or 30, 40-ish or something like that. Picked up 35mm lens, and that's how I chose based off of that. So that's what I would suggest for that. I think the 20 to 30 range, as far as 20mm to 30mm range, is pretty good. That's where I'm comfortable with. I don't like the 50mm lens on stuff like the M50 or whatever crop sensor cameras, because you got to push it further away just to get a basic shot like this. Like, it had to be down the daggone hallway in my room. So that's what I would say to that, as far as that. But M50 lens, you can start with a 22, or like I said, just really play around with the kit lens, see if you are in the 20, 30 something range. And then get a prime lens potentially at that point, or what have you. But try it out first. Try it out. Jonathan Rindo said, you're a very wise lady. Thank you for your sound advice. Always a pleasure, and thank you for the kind words, sir. So Cheryl saying, any advice as I consider shooting a yoga video of myself with my M50? Have good lighting. I think for anything, if you're not saying anything, if you don't need to capture you saying anything or maybe leading the class, then don't worry about audio. You just are needing it to record. At that point, I would say make sure you use that Canon Connect app, because you can have it sitting where it gets you and the participants or something like that, and you can control it. Depending on how long a yoga session is, which to my understanding it would be some time in between positions, stretching, breathing techniques, or whatever. You probably are going to go over 30 minutes, which is the recording limit on the camera. So use the app on your phone. So at 30 minutes, you can just hit the restart, and you don't have but maybe a second or two in between stopping the one footage, stopping, and then starting the next one. So I would definitely consider that. If you need to have audio, either consider having some kind of something near you to record the audio, something on top of the camera to kind of pick up better audio. Like this is the Movo shotgun microphone or whatever. If it's going to be fairly close, one of these will work. Because of the poses and just the nature of yoga, you may want to try even a phone, the recorder app on your phone to pick up audio. If you need to pick it up, you saying something and you don't have like a wireless audio system, you just kind of want to keep it simple. Just a recorder app on your phone to pick up audio, because you're probably going to have it sitting down somewhere, and then you can mix and match the audios up together. So something like that. That's my recommendation for that. So Rebuildable Ryan saying, I mean for down low shots, for being up close to products, very up close and short focus point. Okay, so basically you want to zoom in or be able to zoom in really good and have it really blurry in the background, real shallow depth of field. So maybe I just only want a certain part in focus and then other stuff to not be in focus. I mean, yeah, at that point, a 50 millimeter lens would be fine, because when it converts, let me do this real quick. So the 50 millimeter lens, even the one by Yongnuo, is like $46. I think Canon sells theirs for about $100 or so. Let me pull this up real quick so I can do this in real time. Alrighty. So all I'm doing is bringing up my calculator, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. So, all right. Reason why I say a 50 millimeter lens is because once you put it on the M50 times 1.6, which is the crop factor, you essentially get an 80 millimeter lens. So with that means that once you adapt that, put it on the camera, you'll be really close to whatever subject, and it gets down to like an f 1.8 or something like that, or 1.7, I think it is, maybe something like that. But it's like it lets you get like really close. That's as cheap as you're gonna get, as simple as it's going to be to get product shots and stuff like that. Can't really go wrong with something like that. So you said, OMG, you pronounced my name correctly. Nobody does that. Thanks for your awesome content, my dear. My pleasure. I won't try to pronounce it twice because I don't remember what I said fully, or if I might mess it up. So I'll stick with it. Mathematica Humanista. What's up, Carlos? Glad that you are here. Said, hello, Dinah. Thanks for the video on how to overcome the 30-minute recording limit. I have a capture card. I'm not using the cam link. Will it work the same? Well, I'm not sure what you're using. I've done several videos on the live stream, so look at the playlists on the channel. Specifically there's a little live streaming playlist already set up right now. If you're not using the cam link and you're on a PC, then you know what? I don't even know if you could use, I know you can control the camera and see everything. I don't know about recording solely with that Canon utility app on your PC. I've never tried it. I've never even bothered with it, but it may work. I know some people do. I don't know if it gets you past the 30-minute limit though. And whatever you're using for live stream, I just don't know. I know softwares like, I'm trying to think of what it's called, but I've talked about it almost ad nauseum now, and now I've gone out of focus, turning my head too much, so I have a shallow depth of field on the camera, so the lens is very particular on this one. So, but I don't remember what it's called, but it's one for PC, and then it's of course Ecamm Live that I'm using right now for Mac. Goodness, for the life of me, I can't remember at this moment, but that's what I would say. Just try. Just do some testing out. So Rebuildable Ryan saying, awesome, thank you. I have the Magewell Quad HDMI. I don't know, Carlos. I can be straight up honest with you. I have no idea. I've never tried the Magewell. I've only ever used my cameras for live streaming with the Elgato Cam Link. I've not bought any other different ones for any other reason. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I would imagine you would probably be able to kind of get away with it. But again, that's something you would definitely have to try. See, you asking me questions, you already know the answer. Sparko Cam. Thank you very much. That's exactly what it's called. Sparko Cam. And so, goodness, for the life of me, I could not think of it. Sparko Cam. You can try it. I know that software is not free, but I mean, with the free version that has Sparko Cam across your forehead, you'll be able to try it out. But I think if you're using some kind of other capture card, like the Magewell one that you mentioned, I would try to see if that EOS utility app would work as long as it was open. Same way like I did the other video, and just try it out. Because I think that's all it is just trying and seeing if it works. But it probably will. I'd bet that it probably would. But that's where I'm going to leave it for today, guys. You guys have been amazing as always. I am going to leave whatever recommended video over there. And you can check it out also in regards probably to live stream or something else maybe you haven't seen on Entree Woman TV. But I hope this video helps you out. But with that, guys, live with passion. I'll see you guys on the next video.